and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do my 2022 eyeshadow palette rankings. I've got all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have tried and bought this year. I think these are all of them. I do have two honorable mentions because I don't feel like I can rank them, and I also did receive some eyeshadow palettes for Christmas, which I obviously will not include in this video because I have yet to use them. But yeah, I've got a stack here and honestly it was really hard to do that thumbnail. I don't know if you saw the thumbnail, but there was a lot of eyeshadows there and I was very nervous I was going to drop everything. There are 22 eyeshadow palettes here, which is a little bit crazy. I didn't realize I had purchased so much this year, but when you look at it, it's a little bit shocking. I'm hoping in 2023 I don't have another 22 eyeshadow palettes that I will be ranking. But again, I've already got a bunch of eyeshadow for Christmas that will be in that ranking. So, okay, let's start with the honorable mentions just simply because I don't feel like I can rank them. I've got the Revolution Dangerous Love. I know I ranked this in my 3-month ranking, but I don't think it's fair if I rank this. I do love the color story, I think it's really pretty, but I haven't used every single shade. I've only used it, I think, once or twice, and I just don't think I can rank it at this point. I also have my Pastel Roses here. This is not necessarily a palette, these are just singles, but they were new to me this year, and I really enjoy them, but I don't know how I would rank them either. So those two honorable mentions, but yeah, let's get into my ranking because I imagine this might be a little bit long. So first one is this Haze. It's the Sand Haze from Donna Beauty. It is not very good quality. I do like the color story and I do like the mattes, but the shimmers aren't very good quality, and it is a palette that I potentially might declutter. It was in my chopping block palettes that I want to oh my gosh, it was in my chopping block video that I posted. Oh my gosh, I could not speak today. So you're probably right. I mean, a lot of these I've spoken about very recently. Next up is the Juvia's Place, the Rebel Mints. I really regret buying this, to be honest. I just don't think it's anything special. I did swatch it in store and I bought it back in September thinking, oh, I really shouldn't be buying from Juvia's Place regardless. But I don't know, the swatches look so beautiful, and since I've had it, I've just not wanted to use it. And I just don't think it's anything special, so I really did not need to buy that. So I'm ranking it pretty low. Next up, I've got the Alva from Odins Eye. It's no surprise that this is very low. I have spoken about how disappointed I was with this palette, and I have yet to change my mind about it. And yeah, I just don't think the quality is very good. I know a lot of people say that they love the shimmers in this palette and they don't like the mattes. I'm the complete opposite. I like the mattes, I don't like the shimmers. I know that it's not supposed to be the same quality now with their new palettes, and I haven't tried the new palettes, so I do bear that in mind, but it has put me off buying anything else from Odin's Eye simply because I just feel a little bit jaded from the palettes I've tried. But yeah, this one's ranking really low. I just never enjoyed it, unfortunately. Next up is a new palette for me. It's the Untamed Panther. I do like this palette. I'm not ranking it super low because I don't like it. It's just from Primark. The quality isn't great. I love the color story, and that's why I picked it up. I thought the color story was really cute, and I think it's a good travel palette because I don't mind if it gets thrown around because it is just a £3 palette. So for me, it's more like practical, you know, to have palettes like this where I can just have it on the run and it's not precious to me. But because it is bad quality, I can't really rank it any higher. And then I've got the On The Rocks from W7. I really do enjoy this. I think it's pretty decent. So this one is a dupe for the Subculture. It is not as good as the Subculture. Obviously, the quality isn't ABH quality. And yeah, this is why it's ranked so low, but I do enjoy the color story. I think the color story is really fun, and there are a lot of mattes in here, and I think the matte formula for W7 isn't that bad. The shimmers are not very good in this at all, but thankfully this palette really only has 3 shimmers and the rest are matte. So for me, I usually tend to like shimmers over mattes, but when I am using this, I really appreciate the mattes more. And but yeah, I have to rank it super low because it's just the quality isn't very good. Next up, I've got the She Glam. This is the Virtuous Virgo palette. This is the only She Glam palette that I have ever tried and owned. and I picked it up because I'm a Virgo, and I really liked the green grungy tones of this. And I have to say, I kind of still do. I really like it. I wish this wasn't a glitter. This definitely is a glitter shade. Be nice if it was more of a really creamy, crunchy, metallic, but it's not. It is glittery, but you can make it work. But I really like these grassy, earthy green tones. Do I need them in my collection? No, especially with some of the new palettes that I've received for Christmas. I definitely don't need this. So this might be one that I potentially think about decluttering in the future. But yeah, I have to rank it low because I don't think it's the nicest quality in the world, and it also is just a monochromatic palette. There's not much you can do with it, and it has that glitter, which I don't particularly like. But yeah, so that one I'm ranking it there. Next up, I've got another Odins Eye. This is the Alva 2 Mini Ocean palette. So this one I really was hoping to love because I think the color story is beautiful, and to be fair, I do like these blues, and these shades over here are fine. It's just the shimmers let me down. So again, there is something about the Odins Eye shimmer quality that I don't like most of the time. I say most of the time because I do have another Odins Eye palette that I tried this year, and the shimmers are beautiful. These, however, are very dry, and I don't know why they're so dry. I had really high hopes for this, and I was very disappointed in the quality. As a palette itself, it is pretty, and it's cute and small and compact, but I can't rank it any higher. Next up, I've got a Revolution palette. This is the Hydra Tattoo. I've been working on this recently, and you know what? To be fair, this is a pretty interesting color story for me. I don't have a lot of palettes like this, but because it is not a color story that I wear every single day, I do need to rank it low. And also, there's no special shade in this palette. I have another Revolution palette. It is the Chilled palette, which is the green palette, and there are a couple of creamier shades in there, and they're very beautiful, and this palette doesn't have that. This is just your standard Revolution quality, which is very hit and miss. So some of these shades are nice, some of them are very, very dry, lack impact, and so on, which is what you kind of expect from Revolution, so I didn't expect anything different. But I was hoping maybe one shade was a little bit interesting, and there's no interesting shades in here. However, you know, I do like a couple of the shades. I like the shade and this shade. Some of the purples are actually pretty decent. And the blues are okay. They're not too patchy or anything. Blues are pretty hard to formulate, and I think these are okay. They're just not the best. So yeah, I need to rank it as low as this. I spoke a lot about that one. Moving on, I've got the Sigma Corda Rosa. Very, very upsetting to have to rank this so low. I actually wasn't going to pull this palette, and then I realized, yes, I actually did try it right at the beginning of the year. It was the first palette that I bought this year, along with the W7 on the rocks. I bought those two earlier this year, and I actually preferred working on the W7 at the time over this one, which is shocking. It's my only Sigma palette, but if all of their shimmer formulas are like this, then I'm not a fan. And like Odin's Eye, it kind of put me off. There are a lot of other Sigma palettes that I would absolutely run and go out and buy, but because I really did not like the formula in this palette, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to waste my money, because this is expensive. Sigma is pretty expensive. It's not like some of these other ones were pretty affordable. Sigma is not super affordable. Although I think I did get this on sale, and yeah, I think overall the mattes are better than the shimmers. The shimmers definitely let it down, but there are a few dud mattes, like this matte doesn't even work for me, it doesn't even pop up on my skin. And yeah, some of the other mattes are just kind of boring. I was just so excited for this palette. It was just like, I can't even tell you. It was like the Alva from Odin's Eye. You know, they both let me down tremendously. But yeah, I'm ranking it a little bit higher than the others because I still appreciate the color story, and I don't know, I just can't bring myself to rank it any lower than it is, but it's definitely not even middle of the road at this point. Okay, moving on, I actually have this little surprise here. This is from Noma. This is the Fête de Provence. I bought this in the springtime, and I was excited about this one, and I haven't given it any negative thoughts or reviews or anything like that, but, you know, in retrospect, when I look at this palette over the other Noma palettes that I have, I don't think it's as good. I honestly don't. And those palettes that I have, which is the Tokyo one and the Cartagena one, they're not perfect. Like there are issues with some of the shimmers. The shimmers get terrible hard pan, and you know, there's a little bit of pros and cons with them, but I really have enjoyed them and loved them. This one, I just don't feel the same way. I think the color story is really fun. You've got half of it more cool tone and the other side more warm tone, and you can mix and match with these yellows, obviously. And I've made some beautiful looks with this, if I say so myself. There are some beautiful shades, like the shimmer is really gorgeous, and then this yellow is really interesting. This yellow is actually really interesting as well, and there's purples. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful shades in here, but I don't think it is as good as the other two palettes that I have, and I'm not sure what it is. Is it the color story? Is it just I'm kind of sick of the hit and miss with the formula? I'm not really sure, but I've tried to really fall in love with it. I don't dislike it, I just don't love it, so I need to kind of rank it. It's not even middle of the road, it's not even number 10, but yeah, I'm ranking it pretty low, but in comparison with all the other palettes that I have in front of me, they're just all really good, so I kind of have to rank this one here. Okay, next up is the third Odins Eye that I tried. I did get the mystery box this year. So this is the Verdandi mini eyeshadow palette. And out of the three that I got, this was the one that I was the least interested in just because of the color story. However, I think the quality in this one over the other two that I've spoken about is amazing. And these shimmers are beautiful, beautiful. And this looks like a blue, but it comes off as a yellowy blue. It's beautiful. And, you know, these are just your standard mattes, and you've got a little bit of a dark shimmer here. Nothing special, but the quality is just so much nicer, and I have never had a bad experience with this. I've never done a bad look, and I've always had a good opinion about it, just naturally it's come to me. So I kind of had to rank it here above the Noma and above some of these other ones, because I just don't have anything bad to say about it. Okay, number 11 is from Beauty Bay. It is the Technique Days. This is a really cute little palette. You've got some sort of, you've got pastels, you've got some other sort of mid-tones, and then you've got some very pretty shimmers. I really like the Beauty Bay formula, and I did have fun with this. I don't have some of these colors in my collection, so I just thought this is a cute little palette to pick up. It was only £5 at the time, so I thought, why not? That's not a good thing to always say sometimes, but you know, it is the truth. And yeah, I think it's a really nice companion palette. Do I do a full look with this? Normally, no, absolutely not. I kind of just go into this for the shimmers or for these other matte shades, just for something different. But I really have enjoyed it. So yeah, this one needs to be ranked here. And then number 10, so remember top 10 now, is from Colourpop, and it is the Hocus Pocus 2 palette. I think this actually has, yeah, this is the All Hallows Eve. I never actually realized it actually had a proper name. I just thought it was the Hocus 2 palette. But this one, I got right before Halloween. I was hoping to get, I put my order in September, and it didn't come until right like a few days before Halloween. But I did get to play around with it. It is really fun. I really liked the first, Hocus Pocus palette that they did. Didn't care for the second one, but I really wanted to pick up one of them, and obviously those are discontinued. And when this came out, I just thought this was fun, and it's very vibrant. It's got the beautiful lime green, and I think it's very cohesive. You know, you've got your neutrals, your oranges, your lime greens, your purples, and sort of your whites and your blacks. And I don't know, I kind of like the way that they've laid it out. And I've done 3 looks with this palette. I do have a video on it. I got the whole collection, and I really like this. I think it's beautiful. I also really like the Jelly Much shadows that I got with it as well. I think those are super beautiful and very impactful. But yeah, I have pleasant feelings about this. I really do like it. I think the quality is really good, and I do see myself using this throughout the year, not just waiting until Halloween. There's no way I'm going to wait a whole year to play around with this. And I just like to have it in my collection. So this one I'm really happy to have, and I thought the quality was really good, like I said, so I need to rank it middle of the road. Okay, moving on, we have this first Alter Ego palette. I did pick up some Alter Ego palettes this year. I tried it out for the first time, and I fell in love with the brand. Now, obviously, they do a lot of dupe palettes, mostly from Natasha Dena, and the palettes that I picked up actually were all supposed to be Natasha Dena dupes, but I did not want to spend the money to buy those palettes, so I went ahead and went with Alter Ego because I'd heard some good things about them. So the first one, oops, that I have here is the Canyon, and this one is stunning. I really enjoy the color story. I did receive this during a time when I was going off warm tones. However, I fell in love with this shade Desert Moon. I think it is absolutely beautiful, and even though I was going off warm tones, I really enjoyed this palette. I love the quality, I love the shimmer formula. I just think it is really stunning, and yeah, the color story is Natasha Dena color story, but the actual quality of Alter Ego is good. I'm not going to say it's like Natasha Dena because it isn't. They do try to do some cream to powder shades. I don't think there's any in here. I know in my Artemis palette they do. I don't think they are as good as Natasha Dena, definitely. But I think for a dupe palette and for how more affordable this is over Natasha Dena palettes, I'm quite happy to have this and nothing else. So yeah, I'm really, really happy to have this in my collection, and so I'm going to be ranking it number 9. Okay, next up we've got BH Cosmetics Blueberry Muffin. It took me a really long time to buy this palette. It was on my radar for the longest time, and I finally picked it up this year, and I'm so happy that I did. And it was when I was really getting into my cool tone phase, and so as you can see, it is very cool tone and beautiful, and I thoroughly enjoyed it this year. Is it my favorite BH Cosmetic palette that I own? No, it's not, because I would not use all of these shades all the time, and I do see this. I mean, obviously you can do beautiful looks with this, and I have done beautiful looks with this with just this palette, but I do see this palette as a slight companion palette, because, or just a palette that you dip into for 1 or 2 shades if you've already started your look with another palette. That's kind of how I've enjoyed using it, because I feel like you've got so many beautiful inner corners here. And yeah, if you are doing a blue look, you can go in with a blue look. You obviously can do some more neutral looks as well, but I don't know, I can't rank it any higher just because I do see it as more of a companion palette for me, even though you can do beautiful looks, and I have done beautiful looks with just this palette. The quality is amazing, I love it. Okay, moving on, I have another BH Cosmetics. I didn't know how to rank these two. It's between these two, and I do think I like the Avocado Toast a tinge better, but yeah, this is the Avocado Toast. Mine looks a little bit scruffy because my son did scratch it up a little bit with his fingernails, but the reason that I do think this one is slightly above the Blueberry Muffin is because I don't see this as a companion palette. I look into here and yes, of course you can do a green look, but you can do a pink look. You can go grungy, you can go more grassy, you can go more like pure on green, you can just do a neutral look. There are so many things in here that you can do. It's very earth toned and it's really, really beautiful. Obviously it's not cool tone like the Blueberry Muffin, so maybe it's just a difference of my taste. Whether I'm feeling cool tone, I'll go in Blueberry Muffin. This is obviously more warm tone, but I do think that as a color story, this is a little bit more interesting because this is basically blues and whites and silvers with a little bit of purples and like periwinkle. This one you can do a bunch of other looks and not have to dip into the green, which I kind of like. So I don't know why I'm ranking it like that, but I am. Okay, number 6 is my second alter ego that I've spoken about. This is the Artemis. Obviously this is the dupe for the Metropolis. So I wanted the Metropolis and it was discontinued. So I thought, okay, let me buy the Artemis. Bought the Artemis. A few months later, the Metropolis came out again. It was re-released, which was kind of annoying because I think at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't have bought it anyway because it is a very expensive palette. But you know, it just came at a time when I just bought the Artemis. I was like, oh, really? But obviously, yeah, I think it is discontinued again at this point. This is very beautiful, and this is one of the ones that does have, they did try to attempt to do the cream to powder. Like, these are all cream to powder over here. And I think this one as well and this one. There's actually a bunch of cream to powder in here. I don't mind it, and I don't mind that the color story is a little bit sort of everywhere, because that's what the Metropolis is like, and I don't mind the look of it. I actually, that's kind of like how I liked looking at it. Now, I don't think all of the shades are in the exact same spot as Metropolis. Actually, they aren't, but it is the same sort of vibe, and obviously it is duping it heavily. I like this palette because if you hide there, you've got like all of these grungy greens over here with some yellow tones, and then if you hide this, you've got all of those neutrals and warm tones and oranges and stuff, and then you've got these blues and greens here that you can kind of use in either way. I mean, I don't know. I think there's just a lot in this palette, and it did take me a while to use every single shade and really get to know it, but as soon as I started working on it and using it, I really, really enjoyed it, and I think the quality is good. As I said, the cream to shadow is not like the Natasha Dena cream to shadow, so that's not what you're gonna get, but it's not bad. It's just I don't think they needed to include that in here, and I'm not going to rank it any higher because I do think there are some redundant shades. Like, I do think some of the warmer tone shades, like these two, I don't necessarily think you need both of them in the palette. And then there are some other shades that are just very similar to each other. Like, yeah, these are different, but they're also kind of all in the same family wheelhouse. And then you've got these two that are different, but they're also kind of the same. So, you know, and then you've got these two, which are very close to it. This is more green, this is more blue, but still, I don't know. They could have cut it down, but they also probably could have cut down the Metropolis one, if I'm being honest. So yeah, those are the only like pros and cons of that, and why it's not ranked number one, because I really do like it. Okay, moving on, we have got a Nabla palette, the only one that I have. It is the Dreamy palette. So I've been raving about this for the last month and a half, I think. I ranked it as number one in the last 3 months of the palettes that I tried. But you know what, I think there is a palette down here that I've kind of changed my mind on, and this is why this one is ranked number 5, so it's still really high number. The reason why I can't rank it higher is because of this shade over here. I think this quality is beautiful, and had I known Nabla was so stunning in terms of the quality. Oh, hi, Bubba. Hello. Hi. Had I known that Nabla had such beautiful quality, I would have given this more love and attention when I first got it. I really didn't give it a lot of love and attention because I think the color story isn't that exciting and interesting, but it creates the most beautiful looks, and I had to rank it as high as I did because it is so stunning. So yeah, this is ranked number 5. Be careful. These are my eyeshadow palettes. You have to be careful. They all know. They know that you destroy them. Alright, number 4 is from ABH. It is the last palette that I bought from them. It is the Nubo palette. I shouldn't have bought this in hindsight just because of what Anastasia Beverly Hills stands for. To be honest, I knew that there was drama when I bought from her and the brand. How I did not realize the extent of that drama, so I do feel bad about not so much promoting the brand and the products that they own, but just speaking about them and owning them. However, I do have this palette, and I think this palette is really, really beautiful. I just do. I think it's stunning, and I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to keep using it because I do like it. I like this palette because it is very muted, and I just like that. I don't have that many palettes that are muted like this. It's not super cool tone, it's not super warm tone, although it does lean a lot more warm tone than anything else, but the shades are just muted shades, and I just thought it was a very well planned out palette. I love the packaging. I think the formula inside is stunning and beautiful. I don't think it's crumbly like the older palettes that they had. I just think they got it right in this palette. Whether they do that with their other newer palettes, I don't know, but I think this is a beautiful palette. Yeah, I'm ranking it number 4 because I have enjoyed using it. It's stunning quality, and yeah, I really like it. Okay, moving on. I do have a Natasha Dena palette. It's my only Natasha Dena palette, and it is the Retro palette. And I picked this up at the beginning of the year. I this one I had to really think about too, because I did not remember that I bought this at the beginning of the year. But this is what mine's looking like. I actually do have a pan in this cream to powder shade. And this is a stunning palette, and I cannot deny the formula and the quality and the luxury feeling that you get after using this palette. And it looks very beautiful on the lids. It's just, and maybe it's because I do have sort of aging lids and skin, you know, I'm in my 30s, I'm not some 21-year-old, so, you know, I think these shimmers work with me, and the mattes are beautiful, and it's just a very nice, beautiful, cohesive palette. And I really enjoy it, so I have to rank it as number 3. I just have to. It's not number 1 because honestly it is not my favorite palette that I've tried this year, and I have to be honest with myself. But I'm very happy that I have it. And yeah, I'm not sure about these two. I really don't know where to put them. But I think this is the most honest that I can be, right? Okay, so we'll go to this one. This is my third Alter Ego palette, the Shadow Kiss. This one by far is the best one that I have. It is obviously another Natasha Dena dupe. It is absolutely stunning. Obviously it's cool toned. I actually have a little bit of it on today. I just can't stop using it when I have it out. When I don't have it out, obviously I'm not using it. I haven't used it in a while, but it is in my Shop My Stash now. And it's the only palette that I want to use. And I just think everything about it is so stunning. And it's because I'm really into cool tones, and it's perfect for this time of year, I think. And I think I might probably use it for New Year's. I just think the mattes are amazing, and the shimmers are beautiful, and yeah, the color story is great, but you know, they can't really take credit for the color story. But their formula is really beautiful, and I don't mind it. And I haven't tried the Natasha Dena one, but this is the Glam palette, which is supposed to be a dupe of the Glam palette, but I don't really need to because I have this one. So I'm very happy that I have this one. I just think it's absolutely stunning. And yeah, I was debating whether to have that as my number 1, but I think my number 1 has to be this next one because of the sheer volume of shades that you get and the interesting notes of some of them. Okay, so this is the last palette. So this is my number 1 of 2022, and it is from Sample Beauty, and it is the Equalizer Volume 2. It is. And I know I did a 3-month ranking, and this was not number 1, Nabla was number 1, but I have changed my mind because I've used this a little bit more since I did that video. So, this is what the palette looks like. Okay, so it's a very autumnal palette. You could do a lot of your beautiful fall looks. You could also go into, because I do a lot of berries during the winter, Christmas time, so you could go into your berries there. And then you have these amazing shimmers over here as well. And you've got your blacks and your whites. And also there is a special duochrome, like multi-chrome down here. You've got purple here, and then this is a shimmery black down here. Now, the reason why I had to vote this so high is because obviously, yes, you get a lot of variety over the Shadow Kiss, which is just a cool tone palette, really. But I had to vote this higher than anything else that I've tried this year because of the quality. The quality is so good. There's nothing wrong with this palette. The mattes perform beautifully. They are not super powdery. There's not a lot of kick up. They just work. They blend. They're perfect. But the shimmers are amazing, and the shimmers, a lot of them are multi-chromes or duochromes, and you don't know that straight away. Like this one here is stunning. This one's called Zone, and it is absolutely stunning. This one is called Dream, and it is absolutely stunning. I don't know if you're gonna see all this. This one's called Angel, and it is so stunning. This one is beautiful, called Sweet. Oh, I think I need to just swatch this. Let me just swatch these. These are just beautiful. If you can see that, or if it's focusing, but they're just beautiful shades. And if you like the Beauty Bay quality of their shimmers, I think you'll like these as well. I don't think they are exactly the same. I actually think these are creamier, less flaky, but they're very beautiful. Like, they're just stunning. This one also is really beautiful. Like these, I think I already swatched that one, but this one, stunning. I'm sorry, I just need to do this because I've been waiting to talk about this palette, and I just think the shades are stunning. And maybe it's me and I haven't tried a lot of palettes that are very interesting this year, so when I look at this I'm like, oh my gosh, that is beautiful and amazing. And yeah, you're right, you know, but I think I enjoy the flavor that this palette offers. It offers so much variety, which I think a lot of palettes are too monochromatic, too all one note. I don't think this is all one note. Yes, I don't think I'm going to use this too much in the spring, summertime. However, the first 2 rows are actually pretty vibrant and you can use them for spring, summer. Yes, you negate all of these shades, but you actually can use this palette all year round, which I think is really cool as well. So anyway, I think this is my favorite palette of the year so far that I have tried. The year is pretty much done anyway, so what am I saying? I'm excited for 2023. I do hope that I don't pick up as many palettes in 2023 because it is hard to keep track, and also I wanna put love into all of these palettes. Hopefully you can see, you know, I have literally used all these palettes. I've done a no pan left behind on all of them. I have put the time and love into these palettes, which I'm really happy about. And I want to continue that as well. I don't want to just pick up a palette and use it once. So yeah, that is my video for today. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!